Hey, I'm Mike Schaubs, the director of The Nun 2, and these are my favorite scary scenes from the Conjuring universe. So this scene is the Conjuring 2 painting scene. It is one of the first times that we see Valak in the movie. It's pretty memorable, it's pretty iconic. Let's take a look at it. I think what's amazing about the sequence is just how much James gets out of a single room and just orchestrating all the elements. So there's so many simple elements that he's already set up beforehand with the painting of the house of the first Conjuring, the Valak painting, and then just the shadow. It's so simple, so mesmerizing. It's a little surreal. It really draws you in. And then in a shot like this, you can see it just moving across and moving out of the darkness, and you can see as it's just going towards that painting, and you're waiting for this moment. And the moment it lines up is so satisfying, but it's also kind of like darkly satisfying, where you know you're just filled with dread, you know something terrible is gonna happen. And then it's almost like Out of the Ring, or it feels like a J-horror moment where you just have the fingers coming around. It's so surreal, so bizarre. And then the painting just charges. I could watch the scene all day because it's so wild, and I think James just did an incredible job on it. This next scene comes from the first Conjuring movie. It's with Joey King. A little girl wakes up in bed and is convinced there's something in the shadows in her room. Such a great moment, such a great way to just get us into the scene, gets Joey into the scene. One of the things that just makes this work is Joey King's performance. She's such a rock star in this, and like her ramping fear, you really connect with her, and you connect with that performance. And I think that that's one of those things that it's one of the just essential ingredients in horror, is just really being able to connect to your actor, to your character, and just really feeling their fear. And when it works well, it can be incredibly powerful. What's so funny is
there's no one here.
James told me a story where he was screening this to one of the heads of the studio at the time, and he said, "You did such a good job putting that guy in the shadows." And James said there was no one in the shadows, and the head of the studio was convinced that someone was in the shadows. But again, it just shows like the power of your imagination, the power of just darkness, where there's nothing there, but your imagination puts something there, and it's just so powerful. And I think that that's something that James just really tapped into really well. All right, so this is from Annabelle Creation. This is the Scarecrow scene, and it just has this incredible manic energy. Also has a little bit of humor in it, which I think works so well. Let's take a look. Okay, great moment here. Scarecrow is starting to move. She's going for the axe. And then the handle pops off. I love this moment. I think David did an incredible job with it. It's like you laugh and then you suck that laugh back in because you're so terrified. I think it's just such a great throttling of the emotion for the audience. It's really expertly done. And then the Scarecrow coming to life is just absolute pure nightmare fuel. It's such a great moment. I love when it rips at the mask. You see the teeth. It is just absolutely straight out of a nightmare. And I love that in this like nightmarish, terrible moment, her only hope is just keeping this one light bulb in. It's kind of something that's so ridiculous, so absurd, but it feels just like, it's like the stuff of nightmares where, like in dreams, things feel unnatural and unreal. And if you look at them objectively, it doesn't quite make sense, but it really works in this, that your entire goal would just be to screw back in this light bulb. An absolute great moment, and then just punctuated by a great scare at the end. A great sequence, absolutely. David knocked it out of the park here. So this next scene is from the first Nun, and Thaisa finds herself near the end of the movie in a big shadowy catacomb in the castle. I think there's always something so cinematic and unnatural about mirrors. Even when you see them, you just expect there to be a scare. I think that was kind of a great primer in the beginning of the scene, even though that's not where the scare comes from. Great shot, great camera work. And then into that reveal. I think that works so well. I think it was just it's a great moment. It's right near the end of the movie and just when things are getting crazy. But yeah, a great scene from the original film. All right, so this is my favorite scare in the entire Conjuring universe. This has been 10 years of Conjuring, and this is my absolute favorite. I still come back to it. It's from the first movie, and it's the clap game. I love how this starts just so innocently. And really, I mean, it's expertly done by James, really drawing you in so kind of candid with the handheld camera work. And then Lily Taylor's performance is just she's so innocent. She has a big smile. And then this shot is so dread-inducing. It is just such a moment. When those doors creak open, it is just unreal. And you just see her there. She still has the smile on her face, and the hands come out. It's just incredible. And great cut to her smiling. Going in there, the entire audience is squirming. If you saw this in theaters, you would know, like, what a moment. And then her daughter pops out. Absolutely terrifying. And a great setup. We've set up the clap game earlier when they moved in and they're playing. We see this supernatural encounter with those creepy hands. And then later in the movie, she goes down the stairs and she hears something down the stairs. She does the absolute correct thing, which is, I'm gonna call the cops. I'm gonna lock you in here. And then bam, she's thrown down there. This was such a great solve for, instead of going into the basement, you hear something creepy in the basement, you say, I'm not going in the basement, you turn around and then she gets knocked in. It's like absolutely perfect. Bouncing ball, beautifully done. And then we get to this moment. And they use this in the marketing. This has become so iconic.
Play hide and clap?
Waiting. Where's it gonna come from? And that clap is so good. It's like the Star Wars of scary movies. It was just so darn good. James is so good at like the simplicity of taking something that is so innocent, this game that you play with your kid, and then twisting it, doing this kind of sinister version of it, and just weaponizing a clap. It's simple and memorable and incredibly scary. Those were my favorite scary scenes from the Conjuring universe. But before I leave you, I wanted to share a scene from my new film, The Nun 2, which is releasing September 8th. In this scene, Thaisa is searching for someone in the streets of France, and she finds herself in front of a newsstand. But things aren't quite like they seem. Check it out.